back. Joining me now is the Shadow Secretary of State for Levelling Up Housing and Communities, Kevin Hollinrake. Mr. Hollinrake, lovely to see you this morning. Now, you're a straight-talking man, so I'm going to ask you an extremely straight question. Which Tory or Tories should take responsibility for this Afghan data leak shambles?
Well, I think they have taken responsibilities. Ben Wallace was the Secretary of State. I think Grant Shapps was Defence Secretary at the time, and then Ben Wallace following that, I think. So they have taken responsibility. They did the right thing in terms of protecting the names of those people that were released, not by them, of course, but released by somebody in the lower ranks of the MOD. Of course, you can call for somebody's resignation when something goes wrong, but Camilla, in life, things go wrong. What you've got to think about next is what do we do about it now? So, I mean, so you can call for resignations, but those people are not even even members of Parliament anymore. But they sought to do the right thing after somebody lower level in the Ministry of Defence made the mistake of releasing the names of those people.
But this is an epic level of bungling, isn't it? We've got a situation where, according to Johnny Mercer, your former Conservative colleague, about 1,000 to 1,200 members of the Triples, who are those Afghan forces that literally fought alongside British troops, should have been given sanctuary in the UK because they literally faced being murdered by the Taliban. We've now got over 25,000 Afghans who have come to the UK, of whom 15 and 16 don't have any right really to be here. We don't really know who they are or who they're linked to. Some of them might be actual Taliban. And the Home Office has lost its grip on who they are and where they are. And unfortunately, the Tories must take some responsibility for that, mustn't they, Mr. Hollinrake?
Well, Ben Wallace did. He's been quite clear in his interviews, and you can follow his threads on Twitter. We took a lot of time to make sure the people coming here, and that did, that you could say that put some lives at risk. The fact we had to take time to make sure people were properly vetted in Afghanistan before they came here. There's always, of course, that's got to be that balance with people's UK citizens. That's got to be the primary importance. But these people fought for us in other jurisdictions.
Sure,
we've got a
some
responsibility
of them did.
for them. Obviously, mistake happened. Obviously, mistake. Well, and their dependents.
Lots of them didn't.
We've got to support the. What? Sorry. What
Lots of these people didn't fight for Britain. They were just on a list. So what I'm saying is, from your perspective now, in order to try and undo some of this damage, should we retrospectively check every Afghan that's come in, make sure that their claim is legitimate, and if it isn't legitimate, what do we do about them?
Well, of course we should. And if anybody's here illegitimately, they should be deported. And though we had a plan for that, of course, in Rwanda, and this current government scrapped it. We could have done that. Of course, it's more difficult to deport people to places back to Afghanistan where you've got the Taliban in control. But we had a solution for these people, like who come from Syria or come from Afghanistan. That was what Rwanda was all about. So you could send people to Rwanda, which would be the right thing to do if people are here illegitimately and you can't send them back to their home nation.
OK, so Ben Wallace leaves office, Grant Shapps takes over, an injunction is turned into a super-injunction. Shapps then says on Friday that he's surprised the super-injunction lasted that long. He's the one who extended it weeks before the last general election. The conclusion one automatically draws is that you extended that super-injunction to avoid embarrassment before the country went to the polls.
Well, it's interesting you say that when Labour extended it 8 times themselves. So I don't think that's right.
Well, what about
I'm sure
you
people
extending
made a decision. And what
if
they
it was a bad idea for Labour to extend it, you shouldn't have extended it.
I didn't say it was a bad idea. You said it was a bad idea. I said...
Is it a bad idea to extend a super-injunction to protect people's reputations?
Well, I don't think it's to protect people's reputations, it protects people's lives. That's what it was there for. Now, I'm not close enough to that particular decision to decide whether Grant Shapps was right or the Labour government was right to extend it 8 times, but I'm sure they did it for the right reasons to try and protect people's lives. That's why they did it. Now, it's easy for you or anybody else stand on the sidelines and criticise, but these judgments are difficult. These decisions are difficult, and I have no doubt that Grant Shapps and Ben Wallace made those decisions in the right interests of UK security and the safety and security of those individuals.
But the execution may have been wrong. I mean, I'm standing from the sidelines concerned that the taxpayer has funded to an estimated tune of £6 billion the possibility of importing actual Taliban terrorists to the UK. That's my concern here, Mr. Hollinrake.
Well,
and I think it's a concern that's shared by most people watching.
Well, I'm concerned about it too, and we're concerned about it too, which is why we put the checks and balances in place. And those things were prioritised over bringing people from Afghanistan to the UK. The £6 billion figure you quote is for the entire scheme, not just for the people that were the subject of this super-injunction. But of course we're concerned about that, which is of course why we put the checks and balances in place to make sure those people were not members of the Taliban and wouldn't pose a threat. But in terms of your overall question, should we make sure these people that are residing in the UK today are not a threat to the UK? Of course we should. And if they are, they should be deported.